Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the city of Louisville unveils a massive show of support for an officer injured while saving lives during mass shooting. And as the fight against opioids continues, researchers at the University of Kentucky work to revise how pain medications are prescribed for major dental procedures.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Chas Gayhart. It is 6:05 on Tuesday, April 25th. Let's go back over to Brandon and check in with weather.
Well, the forecast this morning, Chas, not looking too bad as we head out the door. We're going to continue to see some cold temperatures. Let's head on down to Lake Cumberland, seeing what's going on down that way this morning. We're going to continue to see that cold air in place. We're going to continue to see again the possibility for some clouds this morning as well. So Lake Cumberland and Pulaski County continuing to watch that this morning. Current temperatures, we are in the 20s, 30s, and 40s as you head out the door. Irvin at 27, one of the coldest spots in the region right now. 28 Clintwood, 29 Ashland, and then we've got 41 in Monticello. That's a Mattis sensor. We have an airport sensor. It's a little bit warmer too out that way. So again, a little bit of a range there this morning. Day planner for today, we're going to see temperatures climb into the 60s, a mix of sun and clouds, and we'll continue to again keep an eye on all this for you and keep you posted as we head deeper into the forecast. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. An East Tennessee firefighter is dead after a crash involving a fire truck in Claiborne County. Officials with Tennessee Highway Patrol say the crash happened on Cedar Fork Road in the Tazewell community. They say the fire truck went off the side of the road while 27-year-old Roy Sewell Jr. was driving. The fire truck then went down an embankment, causing it to roll over and land on its top. No other injuries were reported in the crash. The man accused of killing a southeastern Kentucky police officer is asking for a change of venue for his trial. Casey Bird of Oneida, Tennessee, is charged with murder and drunk driving in the death of London officer Logan Medlock. The Herald Leader reports an attorney for Bird says he can't get a fair or impartial trial because of Medlock's status in the community. The petition also cites, quote, overwhelming publicity of the case. Bird is scheduled to appear in court for a pretrial conference later this week. Kentucky Department of Criminal Justice Training Commissioner Nikolai Gillette visited Monticello police officer Jeremy Thompson this past weekend. Gillette delivered a $2,500 check to help Thompson's family as he recovers from a serious motorcycle crash earlier this month. The money comes from a fund when Kentuckians choose to purchase the special license plate. Community leaders in Louisville are showing their support for an injured officer and his family, unveiling a massive banner in the city. 20 by 30 foot banners of Louisville's heroes hang on buildings across downtown. Now, Officer Nicholas Wilt joins their ranks. He was shot in the head at the Old National Bank mass shooting. He fought through brain surgery and is now fighting through pneumonia. He remains in critical but stable condition. Lawmakers say they hope his story leads to changes.
There's been some very good conversations already about making some common sense changes that will hopefully make everyone safer, including our law enforcement officers who serve and protect.
The Louisville Metro Police Foundation continues to raise money for Wilt's family. 100% of what is raised will go to them. Knott County is mourning the loss of a longtime local radio and television broadcaster. Harold Mullins died Sunday at the age of 72. Mullins was a sports broadcaster in Knott County for more than 20 years, getting his start in radio, then eventually transitioning to work in television at Hometown 24 in Hindman. Those who knew him best say Mullins' impact was even larger than his on-air personality.
Everybody loved Harold. With the way he did the games, he was so good at it. I really think in a different time and place, Harold probably would have went big time. And I mean big time, he was that good.
Mullins' best friend Larry Drum Thornsberry says because so many kids have looked up to Mullins during his time in broadcasting, his legacy will live on. Arrangements for Mullins have not yet been finalized. April is Minority Cancer Awareness Month, and last night U of L health leaders gave a presentation on ways to detect and reduce the risk of cancer. The American Cancer Society estimates that more than 43,000 women in the U.S. will die from breast cancer this year. Black women have the highest death rate from the disease.
Because we know that cancer is higher in the African American community than any other population in the United States, with the highest mortality rate of all the cancers that are here. So it is important that people understand the risk, they understand how to mitigate the risk, and where they go to get their treatments.
Doctors recommend women get screened for breast cancer at least every 2 years, starting at age 50. Researchers at the University of Kentucky are combating the ongoing opioid epidemic here in the Commonwealth. They're taking a closer look at how dentists prescribe opioids to youth and young adults. Opioids are typically prescribed after major dental procedures. But as Samantha Valentino shows us, researchers are working to revise the way those pain medications are prescribed.
Research shows one of the leading prescribers of opioids to adolescents and young adults are dentists and oral surgeons.
That's a particularly high-risk group because they go on they're more likely to go on to develop risky opioid use, develop a substance use disorder, that sort of thing, if they get that initial opioid prescription.
That's why faculty from UK College of Dentistry and College of Pharmacy are examining opioid prescriptions for individuals ages 12 to 25 after major dental procedures. They're working with the largest oral surgery practices in Kentucky to help them revise the way they prescribe pain medication.
What we are aiming to measure is that there will be a reduction in the number of prescriptions that dentists, whether they are oral surgeons, just dentists, give after these type of procedures.
They're looking to understand how dentists make their decisions and help them use different medications instead of opioids.
Things like Tylenol and ibuprofen provide better pain control after a tooth extraction than something like an opioid. So we have something that's probably a little bit safer, but we also know tends to work better.
The research team has already started recruiting practices for their clinical trial.
Some of them have actually had some personal connection and have felt like there's such an important need, have seen how devastated the effects of substance use disorder can be, and are really happy and glad to be part of a project that is aiming to reduce the amount of opioids that are going out there to the community.
In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
The study is currently in the planning phase. Next year, the clinical trial with dental clinics across the state will begin. Well, the Natural Bridge wildfire in Powell County is now 100% contained. The U.S. Forest Service says the wildfire burned about 125 acres. Even though the fire is contained, all Natural Bridge State Park closings remain in place while staff assess the area for safety and potential trail work.
6:12 here on this Tuesday morning. We continue to track again some light traffic on the Mountain Parkway near the Wolf-Powell County line there, close to Slade and the Natural Bridge. But again, not a whole lot going on this morning. Pretty chilly up there, 34 and then 32 just down the road in Moorhead, 27 the other way in Irvin. Lots of temperatures out there, 20s, 30s, and even a couple of, just 140 out there this morning, 41 in Monticello. What's today's forecast? Well, let's do it for 400 and you'll say what is AM clouds and PM sun and temperatures in the 60s. 6:13 is your time. Good morning. You're watching Mountain News this morning right here on WYMT.